Okay, please be seated. Read your act.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Bowles. Thank you. So, counsel asked you about the solo cup.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay attention to the solo cup when it was found?
No.
Why not?
I was worried more about stopping the fight and why it was happening.
Counsel also asked you about Mohammed making phone calls. Did you use Mohammed's phone at all that night?
No.
Did you see Mohammed send any text messages while he was in the car with you?
No.
Counsel also asked you about changing the vibe. Were you upset?
No.
I want to show you what's been previously marked as States V for identification purposes only. It is 6 pages, but I just want you to look at the first page right now.
Okay.
At the bottom of that page, do you recognize that name?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize that signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize the handwriting?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose is that?
It's ma'am.
And is that, this piece of paper look familiar to you?
Yes.
Do you know under what circumstances you've seen this piece of paper before?
That was photo line.
Okay. I want to go to what's numbered as number 5 on here. Do you recognize the handwriting right there?
I do.
Whose handwriting is that?
That's mine.
Did you write that on that piece of paper?
I do.
Okay. I want to show you the initials here without showing you the photograph. Do you recognize those initials?
I do.
Do you recognize that date?
Yes.
And whose initials and data, and what date is on there?
Those are my initials, and the date is 4/29 of 2014.
Okay. And I want you to look through each of these to yourself. Are those photos fairly and accurately represent the photos that were shown to you on April 29th of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or changes?
No.
Here at this time, the state would request to move in States V as States 22 and publish to the jury.
We have no objection.
Go ahead.
And Wendy, what did you write on this paper here?
I put possibly passenger, the one that Muhammad scuffled with, would be certain if I could see his teeth.
Okay. And that was on photograph number 5?
Yes.
And to go to the first page, show the jury. This is your signature here that we're referring to, correct?
Correct.
It can be stapled together now. Thank
You have to do that? You should have to do that?
you. It can be stapled. That was B. This is down. B was down. I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as states W for identification purposes only. I just want you to look at the handwriting first. Do you recognize that handwriting?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose handwriting is that?
That is mine.
And the top of it as well?
Yes.
And is that fairly and accurately represent what you wrote on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you the photographs. Do you recognize those photographs?
I do.
Did they fairly and accurately represent the photos you saw on the date that you signed that piece of paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states W in as states 23.
No objection.
Here, the state would request to publish to the jury.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And Wendy, the individual pictured in those photos,
Yes.
who is that?
That's the one that swung on Muhammad.
When we were talking about earlier, did you describe this individual as the driver or the passenger?
Passenger.
Have you seen this individual since April of 2014?
No. Well,
So, and you stated that you did not see a beer bottle or hear a beer bottle break or anything of that nature. Okay? If I have 1 moment to confirm with the counsel. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Symbolis, you can step down. You're excused. State, can you call your next witness, please?
This time the state calls Stephen Toyota.
Judge, can we go sidebar with me?
Okay. Bring in Mr. Toyota. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Would you please state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Stephen Toyota, T-O-Y-O-T-A.
Please put your chair up there close. If you start booming, I might move you back. Sometimes we get that microphone booming.
Okay.
State, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you let the jurors know where it is that you're employed?
I work for the Miramar Police Department,
In what capacity?
a homicide detective,
How long have you been employed with the Miramar Police Department in total?
since 1993.
And how long have you been a detective?
Since 1997.
And when becoming a detective in 1997, were you originally assigned to the homicide unit or were you a detective assigned to another unit?
No, for the first 7 years, I was assigned to undercover narcotics, and then in 2014, I was assigned to homicide.
Now,
I'm sorry, 2004, not 2014.
Okay. During your tenure as a homicide detective, were you involved in an investigation surrounding the homicide of Crawford Knight?
I did.
And how did you first get involved with this investigation?
I was first contacted by Detective Bertrand, who's the lead detective, a couple days after the incident. I was not in town when the incident occurred, so I didn't respond to the scene. But a couple days later, he requested I do some analytical work and trying to identify / locate possible suspect vehicle.
And I want to talk about that vehicle. Were you provided with a partial tag number?
Objection, close for hearsay.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Were you provided with a partial tag number?
I was.
And when once provided with that tag number, what did you do with it?
I tried to cross-reference a couple different databases to see if I could get a similar type vehicle to one that was described with the last three of the tag matching.
Were you successful?
No, I didn't come up with anything that looked plausible.
What was the next thing that you did at Detective Bertrand's request?
I believe it was the next day, Detective Bertrand developed a suspect, Demetrius Zeller, and he requested that I compile a photo lineup.
And did you in fact do that?
I did.
Bringing you to April 29th, 2014, did you ever conduct any surveillance at the residence of Ashley Farrow?
I did.
And if you can explain to the jurors what it means to conduct surveillance.
Okay, at that time, we had the name Demetrius Zeller, and there was a couple different addresses that came up for him when we ran him through our databases. Both were in Hialeah, so I went to both addresses, sat out there for a little bit trying to locate a possible vehicle, didn't see anything, and then I ended up making contact with both properties, the manager of the office.
And specifically, what addresses did you go to conduct surveillance?
1811 Northwest 68th Avenue, apartment F206, and 6960 Northwest 186th Street, apartment 420.
On April 29, 2014, when you conducted surveillance at both of those addresses, did anything come up from that?
It did, but I didn't know it was of any value at the time. The first address that I gave, the property manager said that the...
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Sustained.
Going to May 2nd, based on information, based on the investigation, did you respond to a business called Intel?
I did.
And what type of business is that?
I believe they're telemarketers. I'm not sure telemarketing or customer service. I believe it was a call center, though.
And when you responded to Intel, were you actually able to make contact with Ashley Farrow?
I did.
Objection, Your Honor.
It's already answered. Go ahead.
What's the objection?
It doesn't matter. It's asked and answered. It's already been answered. Go ahead.
When you made contact with Ashley Farrow, did you have a discussion with her and take a statement from her?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation clause.
Sustained.
Just maybe go sidebar? On May 2nd, when you responded to Intel, you took a statement from Ashley Farrow. Is that correct?
I interviewed her and it was recorded, yes.
Moving to May 5th, 2014, did you meet with Ashley Farrow again and provide her a search warrant for her vehicle?
I did.
And what was the subject of what was the vehicle?
A Chevy Impala.
And what color?
Beige.
Later that evening on May 5th, 2014, did you also make contact with Marlon Williams?
I did.
And did you also take a statement from Marlon Williams?
Objection. Same as previous objection, Your Honor. Hearsay,
Overruled. Go
confrontation.
ahead.
Again, he was interviewed and it was recorded, yes.
On that same day, did you also meet with Walter Stanley?
I did, yes.
And did you take a statement from him?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation clause.
Okay, overruled. Go ahead.
Yes.
On May 7th, 2 days later, did you accompany Detective Bertrand to execute a body search warrant on Demetrius Elder?
I did.
2 days later after that, on May 9th, 2014, did you accompany Detective Bertrand again while they executed a body search warrant on Armando Baptista?
Yes.
After assisting Detective Bertrand on May 9th, 2014, is that pretty much in your assistance to Detective Bertrand on this case?
No. On July 24th of 2014, myself and Detective Zeller interviewed Demetrius Zeller.
I apologize. Is it common in the homicide unit at Miramar Police Department that you have a lead detective with other detectives who assist on an investigation?
Yeah, it's not just common, that's every time, yes.
I have no further questions.
Good afternoon, Detective. How
Good
are you?
afternoon. Good.
You were present when the body warrant was executed on Demetrius Elder, correct?
I was.
And that body warrant is executed while Demetrius Elder's in the hospital, correct?
Correct.
You had actually visited him in the hospital the day before, but you were not able to communicate with him that day, correct?
No. That would have been the July 24th interview.
Okay, so you visited Demetrius in the hospital at some point and you weren't able to communicate with him, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so when you visit Demetrius in the hospital on the day that you're executing the body warrant, describe for me his condition.
Oh, I don't know what his medical condition is. He told us, but I don't know what the name is. But he was laying in a hospital bed.
Okay, so he's laying in a hospital bed. Is he hooked up to IVs?
Not sure. Don't remember.
Okay, but he had been admitted to the hospital. He was a patient in the hospital, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you're not going to the emergency room, you're going to the actual hospital part?
Yeah, he was in a room.
Okay. Do you know how long Mr. Elder had been in the hospital at that point?
I believe it was either that day or the day before, because we actually were notified by the hospital that he was there.
Okay, so just to clarify, you visit Demetrius 2 times when he's in a hospital, correct?
No, 3.
Oh, 3 times, okay. And you're actually there when the body warrant is executed on Mr. Baptista, correct?
I was.
And that's 2 weeks after the incident occurred, correct?
25th. Roughly, yes. Actually, maybe exactly 2 weeks.
Okay. Your Honor, if I may have a moment. No further questions?
Thank you. You're excused.
Okay.
Just you can say that, please.
Please call your next witness.
Jonathan Zeller.
On that issue, we just discussed sidebar 1 o'clock tomorrow.
You are familiar with the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth.
I do.
May I see this? Please say your first name and last name for the record. Spell your last name.
Jonathan Zeller, Z-E-L-L-E-R.
Go ahead, give me a clack.
Good afternoon, Detective. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Where do you work?
City of Miramar Police Department.
How long have you worked at the City of Miramar?
Since 2000.
Okay. What hats have you worn for the City of Miramar?
Got hired in 2000, road patrol till about 2006, and got into the detective bureau. 2009 in the homicide unit till today.
In 2006 to 2009, what type of crimes did you investigate?
From 2006 to 2007, general crimes like burglaries and whatnot, and then from 2007 to 2009, I was part of the gang unit with the Broward County Sheriff's Office.
And in the homicide unit since 2009, how many officers are in the homicide unit?
6 of us, including a sergeant, would be 6 plus 1.
And how are cases assigned in the Miramar PD homicide unit?
As far as homicides,
Yes.
they go on by rotation.
On April 25th of 2014, were you working in the homicide unit?
I was.
And was it your time up for the next case?
As far as rotation-wise to handle a homicide,
Yes.
no. I was actually on call, though.
Okay. So bring me up to how you come to 8516 Claridge Drive.
I received a phone call from our communication division requesting that I respond to that address to investigate a stabbing.
At that point, did you know if the individual had lived or died?
No.
At what point did you learn that this had turned into a homicide investigation?
After I got ready and got in the car and started heading to that address, I called up the sergeant on scene to get an idea of what was going on, to know if I needed more people, if I needed another detective to go to the hospital, one for the scene. So I started trying to plan everything in my head of what I needed to do. And at that point is when the sergeant informed me that the victim had died as a result of his injuries.
When you first get on scene, who do you meet with?
I meet with Detective Schlosser and Officer Yema.
At this point, is there any suspect that is named and identified?
No.
Who is a potential suspect?
Objection. Calls for speculation.
If he knows, Your Honor.
Sustained. Yeah, if he knows, go ahead.
At this point, it could be anybody.
So what do you do to solve this whodunit?
Well, that's where our investigation, that's where we started investigating it, and so talk to witnesses, pretty much anybody that has anything to do with this incident.
At what point does Detective Bertrand arrive on scene?
Shortly after, because when I found out that the victim had died, I knew that Detective Bertrand was next on the rotation to handle the next homicide, so I telephoned him and let him know that, hey, we have a murder, and you need to respond. And he did.
Okay. Is this an orderly process? Is there for the rotation?
Yeah, we take turns. So it'll be Detective Bertrand, it'll be me, and it'll be somebody else. You know, we rotate through the 6 of us in our unit.
With regards to when you first arrive on scene, and you've spoken with Detective Schlosser and Officer Yema, who is the next person you speak to?
At that time, Detective Bertrand had arrived, and that's who I had briefed when I got there.
Do you interview any other witnesses that are on scene at that point?
Yes.
Who do you speak with?
We speak to...
Objection to hearsay, confrontation clause, and relevance.
Sustained.
Judge, you make a statement?
No, sustained.
Do you interview witnesses on scene?
I do. Or we
Who do you
do.
interview?
Objection, relevance, confrontation clause, hearsay.
Sustained, and we're not going sidewalk. Go ahead.
Do you speak with Corey McMahon?
Objection, Judge.
Sustained.
Now, when you are speaking with these witnesses, are they cooperative with you?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation clause.
That's overruled. Go ahead.
Some were cooperative and some were kind of cooperative.
Can you characterize who was kind of cooperative?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation clause, relevance.
I'm going to overrule that.
Corey McMahon.
Can you describe what a snitch is?
Somebody...
Objection, relevance.
That one we're going sidewalk.
Okay, Detective Zeller.
Yes, ma'am.
When you are you able to get the victim's cell phone number?
Yes.
Develop what that is?
Yes, we did get the phone number.
Were you able to obtain the victim's actual cell phone?
Yes.
We'll get back to that in just a moment. In terms of when you are speaking with Mr. McMahon, does he have his cell phone with him?
He does.
Is he looking at it?
He was.
Do you speak with an individual to develop a description of potential suspects?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
To first of all, to know what we're looking for, And that's pretty much, how we start. Get the description, whether it's what type of car or a tag or many things. Yes.
With regards to Ms. Gambolas, how many interviews with her did you do that night?
That night was, I believe it was 2.
Were they both recorded?
No, just 1.
Okay. Now, first, the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as States X for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
That's the victim's cell phone.
How do you know?
On the item description, it says the victim's phone.
Have you seen the phone that is inside there?
I have.
Is it in the same or substantially similar condition to what it was in April 25th of 2014?
Yes.
Here, at this time, the state would request to move States X in as States 23.
No objection.
Okay.
24?
Yes.
Thank you. Detective Zeller, do you mind opening that up?
Sure.
But before you do, hold on 1 second. Let me borrow it, please. On this evidence seal here,
Yep.
are these your initials?
They are.
And is that your CCN or
Yes.
officer ID number?
That's correct.
Okay. And that is October of 2018 there.
That's correct.
When was the most recent time you saw the cell phone?
A few days before the 25th. It was October 2018.
And could you please open that up now? Okay. Where was this cell phone from April of 2014 till October of 2018?
In our property bureau or unit.
Did you have a chance to review the contents of that cell phone?
I did.
Tell me a little bit about how that went.
How does that expected? Since the phone was in property for those years, apparently when I got it out, charged it up and wasn't charging it properly. Apparently the battery wasn't working too well, so I had to find an alternative way of making this work.
And how did you do that?
I have a set of cables there. It's almost like alligator clips connected to the back of the phone where the battery would go and start it up.
Were you able to look at the phone?
Yes.
Were you able to view call logs and text messages?
Yes.
Were you able to view specifically calls and text messages from April 25th of 2014?
Yes.
Did you photograph those?
I did.
Detective Zeller, I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as States Y for identification purposes only. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Do those photographs accurately represent the screen of that cell phone when you were able to hook it up to a power source?
Yes.
And are there any alterations to those photographs?
No.
Here, at this time, the state would request to move states Y in as states 25.
No objection.
Okay, so move.
So in reviewing these photos, there's a photo at 9:28 p.m. and indicates a phone call.
You want to step down, it might be easier for you.
Thank you.
Just make sure you speak up so the court reporter can get you.
Oh, well.
At the top here, what does it state there in the white letters?
Outgoing call,
And what color is the arrow next to it?
green,
And the timing on this call is at what time?
9:28 p.m.,
And the duration of the call?
1 minute and 39 seconds.
Want to go
You're good, thank you.
on the next photograph here. We have another green arrow.
Yes.
What does the green arrow mean again?
An outgoing call,
And this is at what time?
9:14 p.m.,
And it is to what number?
to 305-300-8683.
And is that phone number saved as a contact in this cell phone?
It is
And who is the contact named?
Corey.
So for more phone calls from April 25th, what does this screen show?
That's the call log for calls that either the victim made or received.
Do you know if they are the older ones at the top or the older ones at the bottom?
Objection, calls for speculation.
If he knows.
See, overruled, go ahead.
I don't remember. Sorry, this one I don't remember.
Okay,
Some phones are different.
that's why I asked. I'm also now showing a text message here. The individual that this text message is with, is this to a contact that was saved in this phone?
Yes.
What was the name of the contact saved in the phone?
Saeed.
And the contents of which were still in the phone? Correct?
Correct, yes. Yes.
The red sign there, do you know what that meant on this phone?
Objection, calls for speculation.
If he knows.
Calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
No, you're not.
Okay. You've already testified that the 305-300-8683 belongs to Corey.
Correct.
Are these text messages to and from that same individual, Corey?
Correct.
And the bottom two are the only ones from April 25th, correct?
Correct.
And then we have text messages from another individual that was saved in the phone. Is the phone number 334-748-8093 a contact that was saved in the cell phone?
Yes.
What was the name of that contact?
Wendy?
Thank you. You can resume your seat. Okay, let's go back and, did you at some point subpoena records from cell phone providers?
Yes.
What was the purpose of that?
We wanted to at that point still we did not have any suspects, and we wanted to take a shot and see if the records that we got back would contain a number that we could associate with a potential suspect.
Now we move forward to May 2nd of 2014. Did you respond to a location in Miami Lakes, Florida?
Yes.
What location was that?
It was a community called Coral Gate Apartments, I believe it was called.
What suspect vehicle did you locate there?
We found a Chevy Impala.
What made you think this was the vehicle involved in this case in Myanmar?
Objection, calls for hearsay. Confrontation clause.
I don't know what it calls for. Yeah.
What observations did you make that made you think this vehicle wasn't pertained to this
By the way,
case?
it's overruled for the record. Go ask the question again, I'm sorry.
What observations did you make that made you think this car was involved in the April 25th incident in Miramar?
Well, you could see inside the vehicle without even having to go inside the vehicle, and we saw there a broken bottle of beer, and also what looked to be, what appeared to me as blood.
Okay. With regards to the broken bottle of beer, why was that important?
Apparently the
Objection, hearsay, confrontation clause.
On the scene on April 25th of 2014, did you observe the crime scene at Miramar Parkway and Terra Road?
yes,
Did you see any glass there?
yes, it was a half of a broken bottle of beer.
Okay. Do you remember which half was at the crime scene?
At that I don't remember.
Okay. And
Oh, I think it was the spout.
the south.
Spout.
And see the part that you saw inside this vehicle on May 2nd in Miami Lakes. Which part of the beer bottle was that?
I believe it was the bottom portion of it.
Did the labels on the two match in terms of brand?
I believe yes.
Did the colors match?
Yes.
In terms of removing the car from Dade County and bringing it back to Miramar, what did you do to help with that?
Well, since it was not our jurisdiction, I made contact with a homicide detective from the Miami-Dade County Police Department and briefed them on the case that we were working, told them that we located our potential suspect vehicle, and we needed them to complete a search warrant in order to seize the vehicle so we can take it back to Miramar and process it.
After that search warrant was completed, did you help with the execution of that search warrant?
I'm sorry, after or before?
After it was
Yes, after we transported this vehicle back to Miramar, yes, I applied for a search warrant for the vehicle so it could be processed.
Let me go back a step. While you were in Dade County retrieving the vehicle,
Yes,
and are you on site with the vehicle in Miami Lakes?
I am.
Do you watch the car be sealed?
Yes,
And do you watch the photographs be taken of said vehicle?
yes,
Then, once the car is taken from Dade County to Broward County, is there an additional search warrant? Is that what you just said?
yes. So now we're back in Broward County where we have jurisdiction. Obtained a search warrant to search the vehicle, to process it, for the interior of it, exterior.
And on what date was that completed?
That was the day after. That was May 5th, I believe it was.
Is there anything that would refresh your recollection?
Oh,
I
May
don't want
3rd.
you to guess.
May 3rd.
Okay. So on May 3rd, the search is done of the interior of the vehicle. I want to draw your attention now to May 7th.
Okay.
Did you assist with warrants to obtain DNA samples from Demetra Zeller and Armando Baptista?
Yes.
As part of those search warrants, did you also ask to take photographs?
Yes.
Going on to May 9th of 2014, did you assist with the execution of the search warrant for the body and DNA of Armando Baptista?
Yes, at his home.
And where was that at?
2918, I think it's, if I can look for one, Funston Street in Hollywood.
And do you know about where that is?
Yeah, it's close to I-95, just north of Pembroke Road.
In a house? Is it a condo, an apartment?
It's an apartment complex.
So I want to show you what's been previously admitted into evidence.
And the pictures from Wendy. Yeah, the pictures from Wendy. The ones that
What's on the end?
There we go. Thank you. Show you what's been previously admitted into evidence as States 23. Do you recognize those photos?
I do.
What date were those photos taken?
May 9th, 2014.
Who is depicted in those photos?
Armando Baptista.
Okay. Who else was present on May 9th of 2014 at Mr. Baptista's home?
Detective Bertrand, Detective Toyota, Broward Sheriff's Office crime scene, Caceres.
And do you see the individual in court today that you met with on May 9th of 2014?
I did.
And can you please point him out and identify him by unclosed building?
Gentleman sitting over there with yellow tie and glasses.
Here, may the record reflect the witness as identified by defendant.
So reflected.
Thank you so much. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Defense?
Thank you, Judge.
Afternoon, Detective.
Afternoon, sir.
So, Detective Bertrand is the individual that is overseeing the investigation. Is that correct?
He's the lead detective, correct?
So, so you're all detectives, but for this particular incident, Detective Bertrand is the lead detective.
That is correct.
Does that mean that it is Detective Bertrand that decides what items to test for, say, DNA or fingerprints or things along that line?
For the most part, but it's also a group, we talk about it, what should go and be tested and whatnot, but yes, it's ultimately up to the lead detective.
Because you guys, you don't test everything, is what you're saying.
It's not a matter of that we don't test everything. We test what we think is pertinent.
Okay.
And we also have a certain amount of items that can be sent to the laboratory.
To the Broward Sheriff's Laboratory?
Correct, yeah.
And in this case, was it, did you guys discuss what it is that ends up getting sent to the Broward Sheriff's Office? Crime lab? Or was that Detective Bertrand that made that decision on his own?
Well, it's his decision ultimately of what goes to the lab. Do we discuss it? Yes.
When you made contact with Mr. Baptista and you saw those pictures just now?
For that
on May
day?
9th?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's 2 full weeks, exactly 2 full weeks after the April 25th incident, correct?
Correct.
And you guys came to his home to take those pictures, correct?
To execute that body warrant? Yes.
Execute the body warrant?
Yes.
The vehicle, the Impala, that is located at the apartment complex in Miami Gardens?
Miami Lakes.
Miami Lakes, thank you. That was in a parking spot at this complex, correct?
Yes.
It was out in the open, correct? It wasn't hidden in a garage somewhere?
It wasn't hidden in the garage, no.
Okay, there wasn't any tarp covering it, anything like that?
No.
And in fact, you could very clearly see inside the vehicle broken beer bottle inside the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And you could very clearly see things that are stains that appeared to be blood, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there was a whole number of other items in the car too, correct?
Yes.
The text messages, can I see those please? Is he still in?
You might want to step down, yeah, if he's going to.
I want to ask you a couple questions about the text messages, so if I could get you to step down. I noticed that on some of these, there's no timestamps. It's just a date. Did you go into the phone at all? Like, if you click on the text, is there a way to see what the timestamp is?
There is.
There is. Okay. Did you take any pictures of that?
No.
I noticed there's same with these calls. So we've got these calls, I guess, to and from Corey, and another number, a 786 number, all of them April 25th. Is there, but I don't see a timestamp on these. Is there a way to go in and get the timestamp of those?
Yes.
And is this, so, here might be a way to clarify. So I see a text here. If I click on it, is this the screen that I'm gonna, oh no, this is for a call.
That's for a phone
I meant if I see a call here, if I click on it, is this the screen that I'm gonna see?
Yes.
All right, so for some of these, you were able to click and pull us up what the timestamp was.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you. You get that phone April 25th, 2014, correct?
Correct.
The date that you first take it out and charge it is what?
Late October. It was before October 25th. It was a few days before October 25th, 2018.
Of 2018, correct? So 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
I've got them first. Thank you, Jason.
You redirect?
Yes. Detective Zeller, why did you take that phone out 3 weeks ago?
At your request?
Thank you. With regards to the items that go to the lab, you mentioned there's a limit to the number of items the sheriff's office will take. What does that mean?
That means, let's say we had, and this is just an example, it has nothing to do with this case, but if we had, let's say, 50 spots of blood or whatnot that we need tested, you're not going to take all 50, all those items. So they allow us a certain number to send or to submit, and after that, we can submit some more after that, and but there are limits as far as how much we can send in.
Is there a cost associated with completing this testing?
There is.
And counsel asked you about the vehicle.
Yes.
You said it wasn't hidden in a garage.
No.
Was it parked right in front of the apartment?
Oh. The vehicle, when you come into this community, it's a big community, and you have different buildings. It's not just one building where you have all the apartments there. There's multiple buildings there. So where the vehicle is parked on the complete opposite side of where the owner of the vehicle resided.
And just bring them side by for just one moment.
Sure.
Detective Zeller,
Yes, ma'am.
I've overlooked April 26th of 2014. I want to go back to that date. So with regards to there, what did you do with this investigation on April 26th of 2014?
Detective Bercher and I returned to the scene, and we wanted to just canvass the area. We wanted to retrace or try to retrace the steps that that the potential suspects may have taken in order to find whether it's the murder weapon or whatever else that we thought was pertinent to the case.
Did you ever find any such murder weapon?
No.
Did you find a red plastic cup?
We did.
Where was that? Would it help if I showed you a map?
That would be perfect, yes. So,
Go ahead.
okay. So the incident occurred here. This is Tara Road, and this is Miramar Parkway. So it happened over here. Where we found this red Solo cup was right here.
And this is the other side of this tree here?
Correct.
Okay. And is this the light pole right here that we're seeing the shadow from? In the center of Miramar Parkway?
And it's possible.
Okay. So also on April 26th, did you make contact with any other individuals?
Yes, there's a house next door to where Corey McMath lives, or on Claridge Drive, and I believe it's this house over here. Made contact with this individual here, the homeowner. He had the surveillance system.
Were you able to view the surveillance?
We did.
Was there any surveillance in the back of the house?
No.
Any surveillance in the front of the house?
Yes.
And did you collect that?
Yes.
The red plastic cup that we discussed earlier, was that photographed?
It was.
And was that collected?
Yes.
Did you collect it or did Detective Bertrand?
We were both there. Detective Bertrand did it, but we were both there.
No other questions, Karen?
Defense?
Commissioner Cross?
Yes. We crossed just on that issue.
We went back to that neighborhood the next day.
The following day, yes.
What time?
It was daylight, so the afternoon.
It was the afternoon?
Right.
Okay. And so it's your testimony that you find a red Solo cup in the yard of the house on Miramar Parkway?
Yes. Right next to the driveway of that house, yes. Not that house that I pointed out before.
This house here,
Yes.
here's the driveway.
Correct.
So it's in the grass, is it on this side, to the west or to the east of the driveway?
I'd have to look at the photograph again, but it's from that house there.
You'd have to look at the photograph of the picture of the Solo cup itself.
Correct.
Okay. How long? And this is grass here, right? The front yard is grass. That's the green we're seeing on the demonstrative aid.
Yes.
How far of a distance are we talking about from the stop sign to where you ultimately find the red Solo cup?
10, 15 feet. I'm guessing here. It's not a lot. 10, 15 feet, maybe.
Okay. All right. And the red Solo cup was photographed?
Yes.
Was collected?
Yes.
Was it ever tested for anything?
I believe it was sent for testing.
Okay. Do you, as you sit there now, have any idea where that red Solo cup came from prior to you picking it up?
No.
You were on the scene the night before, correct?
Yes.
And no red Solo cup was found the night before, correct?
Well, I wasn't looking at that particular area right there. And not to mention, it was also nighttime. So
Okay.
we prefer doing our canvases during the daytime, we can see better.
But the answer is no red Solo cup was found the night before, correct?
I didn't look at that particular location for that Solo cup, no.
Okay. And there were other crime scene techs and other police officers out there as well the night before, correct?
Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, your excuse, Detective, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just stay here. Ladies and gentlemen, we did make a lot of progress today, actually. And I did say I had to leave at 4:30, so you're going to get out a little bit early. Again, just to reiterate, if you could try and get here somewhere between 1 and 1:15, I'd like to get going right at 1:30. And we are still a little bit up in the air about Tuesday. Wednesday, I told you, is completely clear. I know Thursday is going to be completely clear, so we're going to be starting 8:30 on both of those days. And I'll let you know about Tuesday. Just wanted to, I don't know if you're going to try and make arrangements for tomorrow night. I know we have one of our jurors is going partying early tomorrow evening. And we don't want to stop anybody from partying. What time do you have to leave tomorrow?
I don't. I mean, if you tell me 6:30, I just have to tell my husband. I don't want him sitting out in front of the courthouse at 5 o'clock for an hour and a half waiting.
Okay. All right, I'll give you a better answer tomorrow.
That's fine.
But if you would be here at 1:30, if you can try and get somebody to pick your child up, that's, okay? If not, we just work with you, okay?
Absolutely, I'll test it.
Okay. Have a good evening, and again, before you leave, remember, don't talk amongst yourself or anyone else about the case. And we'll see you tomorrow.